What's up, everybody? I'm Jay.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Artie.
And sorry.
This is the Trading Floor Podcast, Season 3, Episode 4. And this was a special one, Chris, because we got something cooking up here in TTF.
We do. We are going to be launching our new crypto course. We had one in the past, but it was very basic, very minuscule in comparison to like the vast market that crypto really is. So we have launched a new crypto course that is huge. Like, in my opinion, it's insane. There's a ton of value. Like, honestly, it's like if you even thought about learning about crypto, I think it's going to be great. I think it's a really, really good resource to get started if you're a beginner in crypto and like maybe it feels intimidating when you start YouTubing, like, what is crypto? Because let's be for real, it can get crazy out there. But I think that Jay has done a fabulous job of putting together a crypto course for the trading floor community. And I highly suggest watching it, even if you're like only sort of interested in it. I think now is the ideal time because of the way the crypto market is to really learn about it before having to like feel that pressure to invest. You can start thinking about it, you can learn about it, get interested in certain coins and things like that, start following the news because that does heavily affect how some of these crypto coins and markets move. And I think it's a really, really great opportunity to get interested, involved in crypto if you are, and we have launched that course now. So, Jay, tell us a little bit about what the course is about because you created it. So Jay is the creator of it. Artie is also here for moral support because Artie is a very much avid lover of crypto. If you guys know anything about his beginning of this trading world and how he even got into it, he got into it through crypto. And we'll talk to him too a little bit. But I love to talk to Artie and get his opinion on crypto. And then just like fun to watch these two guys go back and forth because they think similar, but then also like when people start talking about certain things and certain coins, it's like
We're going to be fighting.
Crazy. Yes. And I'm just here to host. So Jay, tell us a little bit about the course. What is included in the course? What can people expect from it? And just kind of give us some details. Let's just hear about it.
Well, you said there's a lot of things. Actually, I condensed it down because I was going a little crazy. But it was in the sense of I wanted to be more beginner friendly into more progression into like, okay, building and managing kind of your portfolio and things of that nature. Because majority of people just see like, oh, there's a dog on a coin, or it's like, oh, I know Bitcoin, I know Ethereum, but it's like, okay, you don't know like the history of crypto, like the pros, even the cons. You don't even know the basic concepts of what decentralization is and why it's important, what blockchain technology is, and like big corporations are using that now and slowly integrating in that. And it's just like small things of understanding the metrics, kind of how we know like the fundamental analysis of normal trading, where it's like you look at the like, well, today is September 13th and we had CPI. So, you know, like CPI reports and inflation news like that can heavily affect Forex and indices. There's certain things that can help you determine like price levels of where you want to sell and things like that, knowing the demand and supply. So it's like understanding all that as well as the different sectors or industries in crypto and kind of like giving you a general idea of knowing what crypto is about, what you could do to look into crypto, and from there doing your own research. It's not me handing you specific buy here, sell there. It's more important of you being able to establish yourself and knowing what is going on, what do you potentially want to look at, and from there, hopefully profit from in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I agree with all of those things. And I am definitely a fan of crypto too. Maybe not to the extent that these two guys are. I'm more of a long-term holder, believer in it, but I definitely agree with everything that's taught in this course. That it's important to know whether you are looking to day trade it and use the price action type of style that Jay's talking about, where you can apply price action analysis to the charts the same way you would with Forex. And, you know, you could either buy or sell for that day or, you know, that week or something like that. You could do something more short term, or you could long term invest in it. And I think that's really great too. I personally kind of like subscribe more to that long term investing type of idea. But again, really important to know because you don't want to buy something at a really expensive price. You want to buy it when it's cheaper. And right now, crypto's starting to go on sale, if you get what I mean. So I think it's a really good time to learn about it. Like I said, kind of, you still have a little more time, I think, in a lot of people's opinions. We can talk about that a little bit later on. But I think it's a good time to start getting familiar with it before having to actually really think about what would you maybe want to look at long-term for investing if you were looking to long-term invest. or day trading it. You can also learn that in the course too.
Definitely, that course is kind of more investor focused instead of day trading focused, and it's kind of different from all the other courses that we've done. So
it's important, in my opinion, to learn the long-term part of it and the investment part of it, because it's kind of like learning the basics of trading in general and the market in general. It's a totally different market. And then you can learn how to actually day trade it. It's like learning how to walk before running. But I want to hear from Artie, your point of view on this, because you've kind of been somebody who's done both sides of it. And I think that I would love to hear what you have to say about this and what you're thinking about the crypto market. Where is it today? What's going on with it? All that.
So I am a huge advocate of crypto because once you learn the fundamentals of it and how it works and why it's better than any other currency, and how Bitcoin is basically inflation proof because there's a limited supply, you start to realize like it's actually a really good place to put your money if you have a decent amount of capital. Like if you want to put $100 in Bitcoin right now, it's not going to do much if that's all you invested and that's all you're going to have throughout your lifetime. But if you have, you know, just like you would save in a Roth IRA, if you're putting away $500 a month, you could actually make really good income or savings with that because it'll grow percentage wise over the course of your life. So all the crypto that I'm buying now, I'm convinced I'm going to just give it to my daughter when she's older and she'll be set for life. But that's the reason why I decided to I allocate so much of a percentage of my income into it, is because I truly believe that it's going to take over most currencies across the world. Like there's several countries, Jay probably covered it in the course, that have already converted, instead of using their native currency like Venezuela, to using cryptocurrencies. So if you really dive deep into it, which the course definitely has, you'll understand why it's so important and you will start to allocate that money. And that's what I did. And I rode the peak up and then I watched it cascade down and I was like, you know, I wish I would have sold at the top, and I didn't, because I didn't need the money at the time. I just figured it, you know, I bought it super low, so it's never going to hit the price that I got it at, which is great. So I never have to really look at it.
Never. That's another question I'm going to ask you in a second, but Go ahead. But recently, go ahead.
But recently I had to liquidate a large percentage of my holdings because I made a large purchase and bank didn't want to give me a loan for it because they were just dragging their feet. So I saw it coming, and so I just like, okay, I have this, I'll sell it, and then I'll use that. And then since then, I've been rebuilding my little stockpile of crypto. But, you know, just like on the way up, every time there was a spike up and a retracement down, I would just buy more. And so as we go down in this downtrend, you know, if it spikes up and everybody's enthusiastic and my dad calls me asking about Bitcoin and if he should buy more, I know it's a good time to sell. Oh, it was exactly at that point. So that last peak that we just had, that day I actually sold everything, or a big chunk of it. So I don't know. That's a good way to look at it in the industry, is if the bus driver is talking about crypto, if everyone's hurting, like really hurting, and I'm talking like blood on the streets, oh my God, I lost, 99%. I'll literally say.
Yeah. So I think that this actually brings me to my next question, is that there's been a lot of talk and speculation that Bitcoin in particular, which is the big boy, that's the granddaddy of crypto. So those of you who are like, well, I don't know anything about crypto, that's the big boy. So most people probably have heard Bitcoin at this point in time. That's the, one that kind of all the other coins fall in line behind it. Think of it that way. So like if Bitcoin's doing well, typically the rest of them start to do well. More people become interested in crypto. People start picking their coins that they think are going to do well, and things start moving. If Bitcoin's not doing well, there's a whole like crypto's dead, blah, 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 this crypto's crashing type of mentality, and the rest of the coins kind of fall in suit as well, typically. Obviously, if you're day trading, that does change a little bit. Some days you will have maybe a good percentage up and then it comes down, and that's just day trading in general. But overall investing and stuff like that, typically they're trending. They trend just like any other market would. So with Bitcoin starting to be on a much more of a bullish path lately, as of the last maybe a year or so, I think right now, Yeah, I think we're over a year now or so. How do you guys feel about it going even lower than what people are saying? And what are your thoughts about that? Because I obviously have my feelings about this because, again, long-term investor, I'm cool to see it go lower. Like, I'm happy to see it go lower because I'm looking at, like, sales. Like, I'm thinking I'm getting extra discounted price. But I want to hear your guys' opinion on it, and what do you think about that?
I am 1 billion% convinced it's going to go lower, if not to where it just was at 15,000, because that's kind of such a low hanging and obvious, like it could make a perfect double bottom. Like that's like textbook price action, but I would love to see it hit 10K again, because at that point, that's when we had that big crash.
Huge crash.
Black Thursday is what they called it in March. Yeah, March of 2020. That's when I bought.
I bought inside.
Everything. Like I waited. I watched every single coworker just buy up Bitcoin as it was at like 7, 6, 5, and I'm just sitting there waiting. And then I watched this huge retracement wick, and I was like, "That's it." And I got in at like 3,800. So
wow. All right. Well, you make me feel bad now. I definitely didn't get that low. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm cool with getting super sales like that. So my point is up to you guys. And it's kind of just like, kind of goes to show that 3 different people who we're just randomly talking, there was really no like scripting or rehearsing of these answers. I promise you guys. Like, this 3 genuine people's opinions on crypto, and not one of us is freaking out when we see it go low and we're like, oh no, that's the end of it. Like we're saying, we're looking at it. Yeah.
It's 15 for me. I think it's like 19 to 20,000 is kind of an area, because obviously everybody knows, well, you might not know yet, but you will once you start looking into crypto more, is like ETFs, like Grayscale, BlackRock, ARK, Fidelity. They're all applied for Bitcoin ETFs, and it's very close now because they're now like kind of linking it with Coinbase, and the SEC is like, okay, like we're getting closer here. And it's kind of just, I don't know, it's coincidental that like the process is slowly moving along to where it's probably going to end almost right near the halving happens. And it's like, if they're going to, because BlackRock and all of them have been buying Bitcoin up, it's no surprise. Like every time they say like it's the worst thing in the planet, like, just for a small, quick example, like George Soros, when he cornered the copper market, he literally said copper is like the worst thing ever. He like shielded as bad as he could, bought up all the copper and be like, you know what, copper's like pretty good now. So it's like, now that you're in, now you could talk about it, because everybody buying now is your exit liquidity. And it's kind of the same sense here as what we're talking about, because you're conditioned to fear when things are going down. Like Artie was saying, it's like everybody thinks it's like it's like a war zone in crypto at the point of like, is it ever going to come back? It's going to zero. It's like, that's around the time that you should be buying. And then next, if you're going to get a haircut and your barber's be like, or your grandma like ask what that Bitcoin thing is, it's like, well, that's probably a good time to sell. But I think we have some downside left, because all the big boys who are going to be getting their ETFs soon, and I do believe that it's going to pass it. Even Ethereum got their first ETF filing, not approved, but it's been like filed of it. But I think there's more downside. That way the big boys can buy a little more, and like they're gonna come up with something. Well, they kind of already did with the FTX thing of selling all their assets. So that's gonna be the quote unquote main event why price is going down. But I think the big boys are just selling Bitcoin to pretend it's FTX. That way they can buy it up whenever it comes up and be like, ETFs are out now, guys. And then price goes like gold did in 2004.
Yeah, that's the reality of this. The big boys really do control it. So what they want to do is what you should be doing as the little guy behind them. Artie was working on arts and crafts fair while you were talking, and I would like to know what he's working on. It looks like he was putting together a nice drawing for us.
Like, if you have a longer time horizon and you're not looking at next year or next 2 years, but you're looking at decades, like I'm in my mid 30s, I'm looking, at my retirement, 65, or my daughter's like 30th birthday. So I got many, many years to go. This area that the price is sitting in right now, there's a lot of, buying off, selling, and it's basically just an accumulation. And once it breaks out of the price structure that it's been in now, I feel like it'll be hard pressed to come back to it. And if it does come back to it, it'll come back to the high end of it, which is 68,000. So my thought process on this is this is how the monthly chart looks like on Bitcoin. This is, 50,000. This is 68,000. Anything in this range from the 4,000 to the 40,000, it doesn't matter. If you have a longer time horizon, buy up as much as you possibly can in this area, and you will not regret it when you're 65.
That's just always because like if Bitcoin goes to 200, 300,000 like 10 years, you're not gonna be complaining that you bought it at 26,000 compared to like 12. Even though right now that's a huge jump, it's like it's still 300,000. So like you might not have made a 20x, but you still made like a 10 or 12x. It's like nobody will ever be able to time the bottom. So it's like everybody worries about the present. Then now it's like, oh my God, it's moving up or down. But it's like if you look all the way over there, well, you can't look in the future.
It's a minuscule difference. Like honestly, but I'm saving a big bankroll to get it back at 15. I'm hoping it goes lower, but that's my price. So I'm going to buy it back at 15 unless I just see just crazy momentum that's unstoppable. Then I'll wait a little bit. But 15 is my buy price right now.
We're on pretty similar prices. So yeah, I know Jay's like real into crypto. He's been doing the crypto course and he like always wants to talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm just not in crypto mindset right now. Like until I see a certain number, like I just don't care. And I try not to. So let's like talk about this a little bit. I personally try not to get too involved in it. And I'm not saying those of you guys who are trying to learn about it, I have learned about it. So I do know it pretty well. I've learned about it for the last few years. Like I've really been into it and not even a few years, like not I say a few years, but it's been a while now that I've been in crypto. But I know there's people who know it better than me, which these two guys do. But I try to purposely keep myself a little bit out of it because I am a day trader at heart. And I will hyper fixate on the fact that like I feel like I'm negative if it's not going up all the time, like how Artie said. But the reality of it is, if you are looking at it from an investment point of view, anywhere in that range is actually a good place to get in, because when it goes to make that new higher high and it pushes past that 68, who cares? You're still up now on your investment. The way you would be if you were investing in your 401k when they're picking different things. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. And that's just how you have to look at it if you're looking at it from that point of view. So I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship when it comes to crypto, because there is a technical analysis aspect to it that I put into it when I'm looking at it, when I'm looking for that bottom or that lower place to get into to try and get the best price. And then I have a hard time like shutting that day trading mindset of my mind off, because I'm not really known as a swing trader typically. So it's like it's a bit of a struggle for me personally. So for you guys who have definitely looked at, and we are talking about the course where it does teach you more of like the investment side of things. But like, let's be real, we teach price action and all that stuff, and we know you can apply that too as a day trader to crypto. So it really suits anybody, this course. But when it comes to the market, how low it will go, we kind of touched on that a little bit. Let's talk about the cycling, I guess, of crypto. Like I'm trying to figure out how, like, because this happens, and this is another thing. So I have a problem where I have to shut it off a little bit. I feel like you guys are better at like really watching it, and you're good at that. So I think you can, if you're one of those people like me where you're like, I can't hover and look at Bitcoin price every day because it will freak me out, and I'll end up pulling all my money, and like I can't do that. Or I'll start applying too much technical analysis, and I have to remember I'm not day trading it. I'm investing it. For you guys though, like how do you deal with that? And then also my second part to this question is, does it help knowing that there is a cycle to Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, to crypto in general? And when you're looking at Bitcoin specifically, or any of the major coins, does that help give you a little bit of like ease knowing that, oh, well, we're in this part of a cycle? So let's talk about that a little bit, educate people a little bit about the whole cycling process, but also talking about how do you deal with the pressure of holding through these really, really bad drops, like dips that we get, like, how do you deal with that on a daily basis?
Well, I'll go over the halving cycle, obviously in the course too, because it's really important. And it's also important to understand the past halving cycles and understand that there is a peak phase, and then there's obviously just a drop. And that's usually the bear. That's usually when the bears come into play and they just drop everything down, all loses. There's hope. There's weird little highs that happen, but it's ultimately just downhill. And that's whenever you start seeing like, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero and all things of that nonsense. But once Bitcoin creates like its high, and usually altcoins follow that. From there, I'll go over this, and the percentage might be a little different. 90% of altcoins, so everything besides Bitcoin, like 90% of them lose about 90% of their value after their peak, after that happens. So it's from that point, it's like you have to understand that there's a point in selling, and you might not time the high, and that's okay. But like you shouldn't be holding and hoping that it's going to keep going higher and higher, because you understand through time, the 4-year cycles, that like, okay, we're kind of inching towards the point where the bear market comes into the accumulation phase. So it's like, hopefully at that point, once you watch the course, you're educated, you're not just holding your bags and hoping that the next 4 years you have to wait until you can like cash out again. I don't know if that answers your question, but
kind of.
I have a little bit to add to that. A lot of people, they're thinking that they might have missed the boat with Bitcoin and these crypto movements and everything, but I want to explain this in a really basic way. Right now, Bitcoin is in its infancy, like the whole crypto space, just a little toddler baby, not fully functional yet, but like going places and will grow up. It's just like when the debit card came out, very few people used it. Most people used that. And now it's like you can't go to the grocery store and buy your bread and milk with Bitcoin yet. There's some markets, yes, but
yeah, we can't. We're in the U.S., but I know you can.
Yeah,
but yeah,
like
we
it's
can.
extremely rare. And once it becomes more adopted, and people realize and corporations realize that it is the easiest and fastest and most secure way to transfer money, like ridiculously cheap compared to Western Union. Like you'll send $5,000 on Western Union, they'll charge you $50. You send $5,000 with Bitcoin, and it'll charge you like 26 cents.
Wait, I can get my money on the weekend?
Yeah. So it's really, 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 truly in its infancy. You have not missed the boat whatsoever. I'm looking at like decades from now, then it'll become more intertwined in our society. And the theory is that like right now it's 1 Bitcoin, right? People are thinking about the price of 1 Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Later, it's going to be the price of 1 Satoshi, which is a small fraction of a Bitcoin. And people, I believe, in my opinion, in the future, they'll, buy a pair of sneakers from somebody, on Craigslist or whatever, and they'll just do an instant transfer of Satoshi to them. And there will be a transaction like that. And that's how it's going to work. Right now, if you just have 1 Bitcoin, like that should be your goal. Let's just have 1 Bitcoin, and it's going to change your life when you're older. Hands down.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever.
So like, I get what you're saying there, and I actually appreciate you bringing that up, where it may feel very like I missed the boat, especially when Bitcoin was over at like 68K. People are like, who the hell can afford 1 Bitcoin? Like, who's just dropping 68K on a Bitcoin for a maybe? You're like, well, I don't know. This doesn't seem secure. There's so many other things that you could use $68,000 for that seem like a much more secure investment potentially. So we get that. We're not telling you to go. Right.
Step back though and look at the previous cycles, and you realize like, okay, since the halving happened in 17, it took about yada amount of days until the peak happened here in 2020 when the halving happened. It's around this time too. It's at 60,000. Okay, this might be a good idea to exit. And also in the sense of you need to understand what you want to invest in or what you want to do with the money that you plan on making, because once you can like materialize what you want to do with the money, it's a lot easier to exit out. Because if you're just putting in money just to gain wealth in the future, it's like it's going to be really hard to sell. But if you are looking now to buy a house for $200,000 to $500,000, whatever it is, then it's like, okay, once I put like money in and I start to see that 200, maybe 500,000, if it'll happen, but hopefully for you it will. But if you start seeing that number, then it's like, okay, you can visualize, I can use this money to do something with it, rather than being like, oh, it's 200K. That was my initial goal. I don't really know what I want to do with that. Let's see if it go to 300K. And then it might, and they'd be like, oh, you know what? Let's see if it can go to 400, 500. And it'd be like, oh, it did 500. That was my ultimate goal. Let's see if it goes 600. And then it goes down. And you're like, no, it has to go back up. Like 500 was my goal. It hit that. Like I should have took it out. But if it double tops, I'll get out, and it just keeps going down. And then you never take it out because you never like kind of materialize what you wanted to do with that money. So I think that's pretty good.
That's a decent suggestion. I don't 100% agree with it and my personal take on how I do it, but I mean, everybody's different, and that's why we're on this podcast talking about. I don't hate that idea. I think it's nice to have it. I definitely have touched my own crypto money as well when I've seen it, like for certain things. And similar to what Artie actually was saying earlier, in that, sometimes it's easier. Like, I don't want to fuss with a loan from a bank. I don't want to have interest payments to somebody. I don't want to have to borrow money against maybe a Roth or a 401k, like something like that. I don't want to have to borrow money from something else. When I have it sitting here and I know it has accumulated and I have no banks to answer to, there's something that's really beautiful about this like decentralization that crypto offers. And that if you are just kind of putting it in there and then it's increasing higher than it would usually, again, not always, this is where you have to like really definitely like check out the course if you're interested in it. Really learn how to get in at the ideal prices. We're not saying go and just buy a bunch of crypto right now. We're just saying that we are believers in it, and we do believe in it still long term, even through this bearish trend that we're in right now and this part of the cycle it's in. But there is something beautiful about that, like that you can just kind of like almost use it like a high interest yield savings account. Obviously, it's not quite as secure because your money's always secure and something like that, but it's like stocks or anything else you're investing in. The amount that it does appreciate long term over time is actually probably worth it. Right now, is it in a bit of a lull? Yes. Does that happen with any investment? Yeah, it does. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in it still. I do agree with Artie. I think that the debit card is actually a really good way to explain this. It's funny because, like, without showing my age or Artie's age, Jay, you might not understand this quite as much, but, we're from the days of writing checks. You would write a check.
Okay, calm down.
Do you know how to use it? No, I mean, we would write checks. You would go to the grocery store and you'd stand in line and everybody be writing their check at the grocery store. And, and you would have to balance your checkbook and all this stuff. And now, like with technology, you don't even swipe a card. You just tap a card now. Like you don't even have to swipe half of the time. You just tap your debit card. And it's like people were so afraid. And I remember this transition of people not trusting debit cards, not trusting the banks with it. And it's like, it took a little bit of time for people to adapt to that idea of it. But once they did, it's like, I can't even imagine having to watch people go back in time and actually have to write checks for everything and balance a checkbook. Like not being able to go online and see what is your available balance or your statement and actually having to know in your head how much did you spend that week writing checks or whatever. So it's just, it was something that people just didn't trust. ATM machines, another thing people just didn't really trust back when I remember being like younger and people just weren't really into it. So I think crypto is one of those things that over the next few years, it will be, not years, maybe decades, but it will take time for people to adapt to it. But I think as you realize too that the inflation part of it is also something that I really like. And I think people don't know much about that. We do cover it. And like Jay will talk about that in the course, talks about a lot of stuff in the course. So again, if you're interested in learning more about it, definitely check out the course is all I can say. There's a lot of that course that he goes over. My question though. Oh God. Go ahead. You had to take your
just to wrap it up. Like I like how you brought up like nobody really trusted the government, like using like debit cards and things, but like I'm not gonna open these can of worms. I just want to
no.
What if
I know where you're
the
going.
government made crypto because they know that they're not trusting debit cards anymore, so they need to find something else. We're not going into that because it'll take an.
That's the whole thing. Why do you think China's making a digital currency? Why do you think the U.S. is making a digital currency? Because they see the benefits of it. They're like, use our Hershey bar, not original Hershey bar.
Like exactly.
But what if they made the original Hershey bar just to expose us into like accepting it?
So it was like
It was like the alien. Like let's keep like exposing this into the people to where it's more like, okay, we're used to like aliens. Like just fun fact.
You know what? There are a few bigger name people, and I won't name them on here. There are some few big name people out there who will tell you that if you knew who was behind crypto, you wouldn't trust it. So that always made me curious to know who's behind crypto, and I don't know who's behind it. I have yet to post.
Was it that old guy that yells at people in the suits?
Which old guy? That's a lot of them.
It was a big social media.
I don't know which one you're talking about, but anyway, it's interesting. So anyway, this is not a podcast to tell you guys go buy, put all your money into crypto. Please don't do that. Do your research. We're just telling you that we're offering the course now. Us three do use it. We do believe in it. We are offering it in the trading floor community now in a much more in-depth course than we have in the past. We do like it still, even though it's bearish. And yes, your grandmom is probably mad because she invested when it was super high and now she's nothing. And those are the type of people you really shouldn't be taking the financial advice from when it comes to crypto. If you're hearing it, like we're saying, from just random people who don't know the first thing about it, yeah, you really should probably not be buying at that time.
That really taking financial advice from us either, but
no, we're not.
That information can and make your own assumptions.
We're saying be careful. Like, you don't want to be getting in when it's too high, and just because it's low now doesn't mean it's a dying thing. It will probably go lower. I do believe that, and so does Artie, and so does Jay. Actually,
like in the past cycles, you'll see you can look back.
They don't know the past cycles yet. To go to the course to learn the cycle.
Yeah.
However,
September 2016, be like, what was September doing? Was there highs and lows? And we're probably in that same boat.
But what do you think for like end of year or by next year? So without getting too long into this, you guys, if you want to learn the cycles, this could go forever. Crypto is a whole entire market like that we could talk about forever. There's so much to it. Like, there's so many different aspects and little avenues, and it really is covered into the course, even down to staking, which we won't even get into, but that's a whole nother realm that you can do beyond just even investing. Then you can like do things to compound your crypto. And if you're interested in learning all that, for sure check out the course. But the cycle itself, 2025.
He was drawing again.
This guy, okay? So, like I said, buy as much as you can here. What I think is going to happen is like one nice fat dip down there, which is my ideal. And then what you're going to get is a nice level of accumulation where it's just like building up positions. And then once, like, the news is just going to be touting it like crazy. All these ETFs got approved. Everything's great. Multiple sets of billionaires got into it. And you will just see one monster candle. And that's the end of where it was. So down here, nice area to play. But you will see a monster. Because imagine...
it's when the whales will come out to play.
Imagine 10 billionaires, because there's a lot of billionaires on Earth. Imagine 10 billionaires. They have hundreds of billions of dollars. Imagine they spent $1 billion each on Bitcoin. And how many positions, if you look at order books, how many positions that would eat up. And once you realize how many Bitcoin are for sale within that price range, you will see where it will go if $10 billion worth of Bitcoin was purchased today.
Yeah, I'm excited. And if Elon tweets about it, we're done.
Oh, God. Follow his... you must follow his Twitter/X or whatever, because anytime he says anything about crypto, the price gets moved.
Whatever it is. For some reason, he's like the king of crypto. Maybe he's the one behind it. Maybe that's what we need to find out. Anyway, but no, thank you guys. I do have one question for you. With 2025 end of year, what would you predict? Where do you think this price will go? Jay, based on your halving. Yeah, it's based on the halving cycle. It's kind of where I'm wondering. Where do you...
Probably November again will be... I'd go crazy math, and I might lose a lot of people, but like I do some crazy math. But it's hard. This is hard to choose, because if the ETFs take off, and even 1% of financial advisors are like putting 1% of Bitcoin in their stock portfolio, in their portfolios for people, that is going to be a crazy amount of demand for Bitcoin. Just 1% allocation for everybody.
I see I's brain like really going there, like looking at a chart right now.
I think we'll hit at least 100,000. I could see scenarios where it struggles because like the liquidity is tough right now. And I don't know if that's going to persist in 2024. I think we're going into a really bad economic time now. And sometime in 2024, we might do quantitative easing with the Fed. And that quantitative easing might just coincidentally be around April and May. Like, who knew?
Yeah.
And the ETFs are out. Who knew? And like, if that would happen, I don't even know. 200K? I don't think it's gonna.
Okay.
People don't think. Some people think it's like $1 million. I mean,
No, not in the next
amazing,
year.
but like
2 years. No,
200K is probably like okay.
I don't think $1 million in the
I
next
have
2 years.
I have two answers. I have a conservative answer.
Yeah.
When,
I'm more on the conservative side, only because the economy in general is bad. So I don't think there's a ton of people putting money into it to fall behind the whales. But that, I mean,
It's not even about the economy though, because like the influx of money that would come would be more big boy financial side of things. It's like, who cares if the retail doesn't have money because the big boys have.
surprised though, retail can help maintain that hype though. So I just feel like with crypto, it becomes a very, also like once it starts going, it becomes such a social thing that like it does only take a tweet from an Elon Musk to get on board. Or like at one point when it was at its height of 68, there were so many celebrities who were talking about it. Well, honestly, ended up having issues though. So just be careful. Yeah. Be careful who you're listening to and what you're like, like.
if anybody says anything about the FTT token, just literally
This is not
unsubscribe from them.
financial. This is not financial advice, but if on like Fox News or like CNN or big corporations are showing you how to buy Bitcoin on brokers, that's probably a good take profit. That's
Yeah, because now everybody.
So my conservative answer is in the year 2025. At some point, I think we'll see an 80,000 price level, like just above previous highs.
I'm happy with that.
If this just goes full swing and everybody gobbles up these ETFs and just they start throwing money into it as much as they've been throwing it into VOO and Vanguard's index fund, we could easily maybe in the 110, 120, and then as it comes down, because it'll get to that point, but it'll halt instantly and it'll come back down and retest that 70K level, that 60K level. And that's when you're going to get a lot of like, I screwed up. I put all my money into this ETF. Yeah. I'm going to pull it out now. And that'll be that like even break, come down. And it's that double push. It's a big financial institution getting in and then waiting for the price to come to get their second half of their position.
So
second.
I can even see a weird number like 97,000 just because everybody's going to be gung-ho about the even 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
And then like everybody's going to be like,
don't sell at 100K. If that's the plan, sell it at 94.
Like ladder it. I'll go over that too. It's like it's important to kind of ladder it in weird increments. Like don't do whole numbers because everybody's looking at $1, 50 cents, 150s, 2s, 3s, 1000s. Like do weird stuff like 993 maybe like weird kind of increments like that. I can help you.
Let me just say one thing.
Say it up.
October 2020 to April 2021, we saw a 500% increase in price.
Thank you. So when people get stressed about this, like that's
6 months,
right?
So if
you have it up, what was the price? What was the price in October 2020? I mean, I know we were low.
In October 2020, it was $9,440.
And then in 1 year,
by the end of April 2021, so 6 months, it went up to 65,200.
Okay.
And so something like that is not out of the ordinary with crypto.
No.
It's a massive amount of buying. And like, think about how much money people have. There's some sheikhs out there that could like buy Earth and Mars. So like chill. Like if they buy it, then there's no more for you. Like you just have to have some Satoshis and be fine with it. But if you manage to get your Bitcoin now, good on you. I think it's a really great suggestion.
And just for reference too, the last halving was May of 2020. So like May to October of that same year. And then from there to like the next year. So like that was what we were talking about.
Yeah. So the point is like, that's huge. And now while we're not saying that happens all the time, and there's definitely lulls that happen because there's so much massive momentum that is happening in such a short amount of time there. 500%, that's insane. It cannot go that way forever. It'd be too easy. We'd all be zillionaires. Like, we'd all be buying Earth and Mars and Pluto and wherever. Like, yeah, we'd be buying everywhere. Like, It can't do that. And if you know anything about the markets at all, you know that there's always an answer. There's always a retracement. Like a momentum is great and it will test the price area and it will come back and retrace because it just can't go one way forever. There has to be balance to it. We are balancing right now. There was a massive push that happened, 500%. So no, we're not like fearful. Like a lot of people ask all the time, like, oh my God, like how are you still in crypto? How do you still believe in it? And the reason isn't because I understand like how it works, one, which you can learn in the course if you're interested. Two, I also understand price action. Again, also something we teach there. So if you're just interested in crypto and you're watching this, I highly still suggest that you would watch the technical analysis course that we have that we redid recently, because that also will teach you some basics. It's like chart analysis that you can combine the two. And that will really help you kind of like put your mind at ease a little bit more. And you might have to be like me where you're like, I can't look at it every day because it'll stress me out. But just knowing that there's certain areas when you do look at it that you're like, I'm very interested when I get to this price point or something like that. But yeah, I really am very happy that you guys came on here. I have a question though for you guys. First off, do you believe in one coin over the other? Because I have a favorite and I won't talk about it just yet, but do you like Bitcoin or Ethereum? I feel like they're kind of the two big boys. Do you like one more than another? We talked a lot about Bitcoin, but like, let's give Ethereum some love on here. Ethereum also has had some popularity in the last few years, probably 5 years or so. It's really kind of become more of a popular one. And there's a lot of debate because it is necessary to have Ethereum in order to process things on the blockchain. So there's some debates whether Ethereum's actually like it's the chicken or the egg, like which one comes first and is needed. So what do you guys think?
For me, Ethereum is the really only useful cryptocurrency because all the NFTs, all the other cryptocurrencies are based on their ERC20 tokens, which is the Ethereum blockchain. Like it's all there. It's all based there. So they're being transacted constantly. And
right.
That's one of the internet use cases of it. But when it comes into the physical world, it's going to be a Bitcoin transaction. And so I'm stockpiling as much as I can into Bitcoin. Ethereum moves a little bit less crappy than Bitcoin. So that's the one that I actually day trade.
Interesting.
When I do. So but you have to think about the infrastructure of it all. Once you watch the course and you understand the usefulness of cryptocurrencies, and then you realize, okay, let's relate this thing to normal things in life. We need telephone poles and telephone wires to run cables. So what's the structure that gets us between point A to B? Is it going to be something like Chainlink? Is it going to be something better than Chainlink?
Yeah.
So there are going to be utility tokens that you must use to transact in this new ecosystem of moving money and transacting in cryptocurrency. Because it's not just going to be, monetary value. It's going to be, oh, I bought this movie theater ticket and it's an NFT. I had it on the, Ethereum blockchain. Or my house no longer now has a deed. It is written into the blockchain as a asset that I can now move digitally to somebody else and give them ownership versus all these real estate agents. It's a wormhole of, oh my God. And if you manage to make this course in less than 60 hours, like I'd be shocked.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I said, crypto is like such a wormhole and it goes into it's consenting to so many directions. Yeah, you can really... We can talk about it. Join us in the community. We have the crypto room and we can talk to you guys forever about our thoughts.
Just don't be like me because I dug into it and all my hair fell out.
Right
in time. You see.
Do you think though that there is going to be a coin someday that will surpass Bitcoin? With all these banks coming up with their own, interesting. So this is where I'm kind of like, to be decided. All these banks putting it out, all these governments putting out, all trying to get their hands into this crypto world. Do you think that there will be a superior coin beyond Bitcoin someday?
Let's just look at human nature, right? So first is always best, best is always best. It's always going to be that way. If I gave you the option of some gold, some silver, some nickel, or some copper, which one would you pick, Christy?
Gold, silver, nickel, or copper?
Mm-hmm.
I believe different. I believe different in this. I think the most to be actually. I think you're looking for somebody to say. I think you're looking for somebody saying gold.
Yeah, if somebody gave you the equal weight of each one in a little ball in front of you and said, pick one, have one, it's free.
I would look at the ratio between silver and gold because there's like a golden ratio of when you should buy silver, and then when the
Yeah, they feel like
closer,
you're asking
then you convert to silver
people.
gold. Yeah, you're not asking the right people.
We're-
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, but I'm not giving you that answer.
I'll give you the answer, gold, but I'm not. I'm with Jay, where I'd be like, well,
Yeah, there's a ratio. Like a 40. There's like a 40 ratio. If it goes, well, that's a whole nother video though.
and that's why, yeah. It's people who actually like I actually buy it's never mind, don't worry about it. Like I actually buy gold. I actually buy like physical things. So yeah, you're asking the wrong person. But I get where you're going. So let's just go. Like let's play. Let's role play gold.
It's gold because it's the most valuable. Like
Yes.
it's the most used. It's the most known. If somebody gives you a block of copper, they're like, here you go. They're like, why do I need this? They would throw it away. They don't know that it's worth any amount of cents or dollars per, kilo or ounce or whatever. So that's what it's going to be.
So you think that it's best. So I don't know. I mean, I agree. I appreciate your opinion on this for sure. I don't know if I agree with either of you yet, but go ahead. So let's do the counter, and I'm just going to stay neutral in this.
So your idea, obviously for gold, silver, platinum, whatever you want to choose, it's just a resource. You can't really do anything with it. It's a store of value at that point. But there's the way I see, I don't think it's going to go to zero. Don't get me wrong. I think it will always forever be one of the top dogs. I don't know if it'll forever be the top. And my reasoning for this, even if you bring up the fact that it's deflationary, it has 21 million tokens, Quant has 14.5 million tokens, less supply than Bitcoin. And plus Quant has interoperability, and that allows them to translate from, because sometimes if you're on Solana, it's hard to communicate from Solana to Ethereum or Ethereum to Avalanche. Different blockchains can't really communicate. You need an intermediary, which Quant can be. And Quant has already lined up with so many. I think they've lined up with at least 12 countries now. I think they're working with the Bank of England as well on CBDCs. I don't like CBDCs, but it's probably going to happen whether we want it to be or not. And so, like, not only do you have Quant's store of value, which is less supply than Bitcoin is at forever, it's 7 million less coins. You also have interoperability and actual status of central banks and top people actually using it. I believe Bitcoin and Ethereum are Ethereum's a little different. I think there's certain blockchains that's starting to get close to, if not like be better than Ethereum itself, because the gas fees are gross. And even the layer 2s are still kind of struggling with the gas, like scaling that up. But I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of like taxis. Everybody got used to taxis. They were prevalent everywhere. They still are in some places, but they're starting to become some Ubers, some DoorDashes, some Airbnb type of atmospheres to where, like, okay, yes, they did it right. They had a really good idea, but we could take that idea and make it better. And right now, it's the infancy phase where Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of, Bitcoin's like getting into adult, Ethereum's like teenager into like, I need to take care of myself. And like you have like the other coins that are kind of like infancy, is like we're starting to, there's still, a lot of these coins are still building in like this time, but they're infancy like Bitcoin was in like 2015. That's where they're at now, but they're growing even faster.
The fundamental point of why people like Bitcoin is because it's not owned by a corporation. It's not run by one individual. It's not a Zuckerberg or whatever.
Yeah.
It might be. That's the amount.
More trust in that than I would in a corporation doing the next best thing for profit.
I love that. Obviously, that's why people love crypto. But when you're talking about, and I agree with you already in this, that I think that's what should lure you to this, right? But when you're talking about governments now getting involved, and not throwing shade at any governments, don't come for me, governments. Not throwing shade at you guys, but like, let's see, for real, like for real though, let's be for real. Like there is censorship in every government, and every. I think at this point, if you don't believe that your government censors things for you to view things in a certain way through the news and the media, is like you're just naive at this point. Like, and it's become very apparent now, especially with access to people all around the world. I talk to Artie all the time, and there's things like events that happen in the world that in the U.S. they're being portrayed in a very different way than they are portrayed in Poland, and there's different stories and ways things are being told, and it's. At the end of the day, it's propaganda, right? So let's be like, there is propaganda in everything. So when we're talking about governments now being interested in something that in my head just feels so pure and beautiful, crypto, right? So untainted, it's just like this innocent little child, I believe. You know, I look at it like this pure, beautiful thing. And even as of recently, the last few years with governments in the U.S. especially, not every country has done this, but the U.S. has, which sucks. They start getting their greedy little hands involved and wanting to tax it. Now there's taxation on crypto withdrawals and on bigger exchanges and things like that. And like, that sucks because it's like the whole point of this crypto thing is to be decentralized from a bank, to be decentralized from a government. Not one thing owns it. Not one person is supposed to be able to do that. So, there's frustration that comes from me. Like, and I could rant about this, another rabbit hole you could go down.
Able to be fully decentralized, it would be a complete war for all the big dogs to literally give up all their power that they've done so much to gain.
Because propaganda.
There's only governance in crypto.
Exactly, propaganda. So I'm talking about advertising. What if they want to push it? They're not going to push your Bitcoin. They're going to push their coin. And their coin is going to be better. So what I worry about, not that I don't love Bitcoin and I truly do believe in it, it's one of those things where it's like, do we as the retail traders or the whales, whoever you guys are out there, do you believe in yourselves enough? Like, do we believe in ourselves enough? Are we strong enough to believe that we actually can do this without government officials being involved? And like, do you actually know your coins well enough? Do you know what's behind them, who's making them? Like, these are the things where I actually do think the course is great at, as well as like teaching you to educate yourself truly. Don't just take what somebody tells you to trade or to do or to invest in and just blindly do it, because there's always an ulterior motive there. And I don't. So this is where I'm not sure. It could go either way.
I like analogies. It simplifies everything for people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Jay said that, it's an adult, a teenager, but then there's going to be Ubers and DoorDashes. When Uber started, the whole idea was like, hey, if you're driving around, you can open up your app and pick somebody up and get paid on your drive back home. But then it mutated into this thing where millions upon millions of people are driving their cars around all day, trying to get as many rides as humanly possible. So like the idea and the concept of a new thing is beautiful and like fine in the marketing, but then it'll always mutate.
Right.
To something bad.
But that's my fear, the mutation of what the government might do, because they have that ability to mass produce. They have that ability to touch all of our lives in your own. So whether you believe it or not, what you are watching is what you believe, what your social media shows you. And again, if you believe your social media isn't stalking you and tailoring stuff to you, like, come on, like,
yeah, so they also have the ability to kill it all by buying up all of the supply and not let anybody transact in it, just so that everybody use their CBDC. Like,
also true. So it's these are the things where I'm like, I don't know. So
it's like,
anyway,
just print the money. While I believe in Bitcoin, I don't think it's gonna be as decentralized as people think in the future because of the ETS, for example. Like, all these companies have to buy in bulk in order to be able to like fund their ETF, like the BlackRocks and the Fidelities and or they're gonna have to have a huge percentage of Bitcoin, and then here you are being like, oh, it's not decentralized. It's still
already like, oh,
seriously, BlackRock, Vanguard, like that's just another They own like 90% of the world.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're
always wondering like, who's the composite man in the Wyckoff theory? It's BlackRock and Vanguard. Like,
it's BlackRock. Look at every single stock. It's BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Those are the top three.
88% of the S&P 500 is owned by those three corporations.
Yeah.
That's my idea. My idea is to find the small partnerships that nobody's really talking about, especially with other crypto coins that are happening a lot, like just now Solana and Visa, Hedera with Google, IBM, Boeing, Dell, T-Mobile, and Polygon with Nike, Starbucks, and it's...
Yeah, I mean, those are completely fine. Those are completely fine. If you got like, $100 or $1,000, you want to put it in something like, think about when Bitcoin got on PayPal, like it skyrocketed the price.
Huge.
All of the other integrations like that with, say, your Wells Fargo bank now does this, like, great, buy it, try to get a 10x or 100x, sell 50% at 10x, sell all of it at 100x. And just like, these are scratch tickets for you guys. I think you should do small cap coins as scratch cards, not long-term investing. Like,
Great.
it's very hard to distinguish what's going to be the outlier, that's going to be the next big thing. Near impossible when thousands upon thousands of, you can make a crypto literally sitting in your pajamas on a toilet on a laptop. So I don't know which ones were made by that dude, actually by people that care.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no.
Don't just be like, oh, because I don't know. I don't want to name celebrities on here and have a problem. Like, no, like, because so-and-so celebrity said that they believe in this coin. Like, you don't know why. They could have made it on their toilet. And we're like, yeah, this is great for me. This will give me a quick $1. Everybody will buy it. All I got to tweet is once. Like, you got to be careful with what you guys are doing. And again, not financial advice to us. We're just totally talking about it, being honest. As you can see, we all have different views and opinions. But I do think at the end of the day, we can say that whether we think it's Ethereum or Bitcoin or maybe some coin we don't even know about yet, that we hasn't come out yet. Do we all believe in crypto in general?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we can all say that we do believe in crypto in general, that it is here and it's going to stay around and it's not just disappearing, and that it's kind of still in the infancy phase. So if you're one of those people who are like, no, it's trash, you know.
That's what I said about the silent partnerships. Like, if you personally don't believe in it, well, why does Nike, Amazon, Google, why does everybody else believe in it? You obviously didn't, you might not have done like a little research in order to see the partnerships with some of these people, but it's like, okay, like these companies wouldn't be buying into these projects.
I mean, even your larger banks and institutions are dropping money, whether you realize it or not. The money you put into your bank that they use freely because you bank with them to invest. I mean, when we're talking about some whales who come into play with some of these bigger pushes, they're some of the whales. If you actually looked into some of the banks' names, the bigger banks that you bank with, a lot of them do actually buy during certain times. So, you know, they do believe in it. They believe in it enough to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's enough for me to be like, hey, if all of these bigger ones and Vanguard, who owns the world, is literally deciding to get involved and stuff like that. Yeah, there's something here that you can't deny and just brush off as like it's trash and it's sinking in and that's it. This is the end of crypto. Like, yeah, I don't think that's it. I think we're in a cycle. And that's
like two or three more really bad news articles coming out just to grade the price a little bit more. Because these articles are fed to the public, you know, don't trust your government, don't trust your news sources. They feed you information to make you do a certain thing. They're going to put more fear mongering into it. It's going to go down because of that. And then they're going to say, hey, this is actually really good. And they're going to buy in and it's going to go up. It's the same thing. Like Ray Dalio wanted to invest into oil. And so what he did, because he's got $1 gajillion, he launched a satellite into space to check like imaging of oil reserve containers to make his bet on oil.
Just launch a satellite, guys. Like,
just be a multi-gajillionaire.
Well, so speaking on your news,
that's a 1 with 55 zeros.
Speaking about news, I'll leave a gem with everybody. And so recently, you might not know, but FTX recently they just so happen to magically find like 3.4 billion coins, billion worth like dollars of coins that they have, and it's spread out. A lot of it's Solana, which could be seeing a dump for the next while, but they have their FTT token, they have Bitcoin, they have XRP, they have all kind of things. But basically, what's happening now, actually, we're recording it today on September 13th of 2023, depending on whenever everybody watches this. They got authorization to where they will be able to sell $200 million of whatever kind of dispersion they do with their coins every single week until they pay that off. And so in order to do that, some quick math here, 200 million will take about 17 weeks to make up for the 3.4 billion. So for the next 17 weeks, we're probably going to be seeing some drip downs in the market because as they sell off, it's more supply. And as you'll soon know, price is just demand divided by supply. When there's more supply, that's a bigger number. Price is inevitably going to go down. So you could see, I think the top 3 holdings for them is Solana, then FTT, their actual token, and then Bitcoin. So like, probably not a good idea to be buying these coins right now. And you're going to be seeing this drip. So 17 weeks puts us around January. So that's one of the events, or maybe there's 1 or 2 more. So like from now until January, you're going to be seeing this slow drip to where it might not fully break down price for some of the coins like Bitcoin, but for like Solana and XRP and some of them, it could have some effect. But it's as far as it's battling the demand more than it probably should be. So like that's kind of one of those negative things. I'll leave you, Jennifer.
I
love when you two like trigger each other, just like watching each other's expression. Like, you're talking under the
cancer.
It's imagine like, so every single halving that we've had up to this point, we've been in a bull market. Imagine if we were, because we're in a bear market, the next halving doesn't make the price go up, but continues its current trend. Like a halving happened and it goes to 2,000. God, I would buy so much Bitcoin.
Yeah, that throws off like I'm gonna have to like only buy half at a certain number in case it happens again, so I can buy that.
My only argument to that is it's an election year and they're going to want to be able to prop themselves up and they're going to want to fudge numbers and they're going to want everybody to be all happy. And so like they're going to make easing happen, I feel like next year, just because it's the election year, just to like beef up the stats, like the recent stats, because nobody really pays attention to the last 4 years. They only pay attention to the now. And so like that.
Yeah, if they do easing or any more stimulus thing, take your stimulus money and buy Bitcoin.
No financial money.
If you would have done
Not
a first stimulus check, like bank money in the bank, dude. But it's flat screen TVs from Walmart.
Because that's what the point of the stimulus. They don't really
going back to the people who actually gave you the stimulus in the first place. Think about it.
The whole point is to stimulate the economy. They don't want you to do something smart with it and make more money. They want you to
give it back to them. Basically.
Yeah. It's propaganda. Back to it again. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for doing this podcast. Like, this is fun. I like to always talk to you guys, and sorry for those of you guys who are like, wow, they talk way too much about crypto.
Seriously. Like, if you want to do another podcast about aliens or whatever, like, man, I could talk.
Oh, don't even start. Not even alien, like even I got crazier stuff, but
yeah, this is stuff like genuinely enjoy talking. And like I said, we don't have all plan to script these or follow anything. We just kind of go along with it and ask genuine like questions and kind of talk back and forth with it. So I apologize if this isn't really your style and you're like, man, I was hoping to learn a lot more, but we've been just kind of us talking about it because I feel like these are questions we actually do get asked a lot, maybe individually more so than like as a group. But yeah, we definitely, I mean, I feel like I get asked it a lot, and it's such an, like we said, it's such a massive wormhole. Like once you start kind of opening it, like that it's hard to like fully answer, like, do you believe in crypto? Because it's like, yeah, but not at this moment. And like, it's like, you don't want to kind of like talk bad about it, but at the same time, you're like, then it gets into the whole cycle and like the price action of it all. And it's just so complicated. And at the end of the day, you guys, if you are interested, we do offer the course now. Like I said, it is really in depth. We go over a lot. Jay does a ton on it, and we're all using it. We believe in it still for sure. That's kind of the takeaway from here. Do we believe it's still going down? Yeah. I think all of us say Bitcoin's going down, which means the rest kind of go down. Do we believe that there could be other coins popping up? Maybe. Some people say, yeah. But yeah, I think that it's a future thing that's going to be here. So
if you watch the course, which is essentially the fundamentals of cryptocurrency and like long-term investing, as well as all the other courses that we have, like especially the price action, where you learn market structure and you can see what we're talking about, because we see this easily on the charts. If you understood those two things, you would know when is a better time to invest long-term. Like, you want a good price when you invest.
Look at your fair value, guys. We'll leave it at that.
No, we also have the crypto course in the community. We have the crypto room in the community. So if you guys are really into crypto and that's like really all you're kind of interested in, but you're kind of like dabbling with that price action or trying to figure out the analysis, definitely check out the community. The community is such a good resource. So we do. We have some members who are really into crypto. And then the crypto room is really good because if you're like trying to dip your feet into it, but like you want a little help, you want to be able to talk about it a little more openly, I think the room is a really good place, the crypto room, that you can join in and ask these questions. Feel free to ping one of us if you're interested in talking about it a little bit. But yeah, definitely check it out if you guys are interested. I am so excited for crypto to drop. Like, I hope it hits 3 now, Artie. Like, if it hits 3,000, 2,000, like, and halves again on a bear, oh my gosh. Like, I'll be so excited. We will all be zillionaires, and I will own the earth. That's what I will own, planet Earth, is what will happen. No,
I'll get there first.
No, exactly. No, for real, though, that would be pretty low, and no, I do not expect it to go that low.
God, I'd buy 100 of them. Hands down, I'd have the cash ready.
I think the blockchain would break. is what I think would happen. Like, imagine how many people would be trying to buy. Like, there's no shot that that would happen. But it would be amazing and it'd be awesome. But anyhow, we don't think it's going that low, nor is this financial advice, nor predicting where it's going to go. But we're just kind of talking about it, that we definitely can see it going lower for sure.
Yeah.
And, lots of people make speculations to where it's going to go. At the end of the day, like we said, anywhere in the range where it has been, we really do, like, as an investor, feel like it's a comfortable place to go, because at the end of the day, whether you got 500% on your return or even 100% on your return, like, that's huge return in comparison.
Majority.
Exactly. So,
I think I'm going to end it there, though.
yes.
Oh,
Already have some.
oh.
I mean, looking at the wicks, there's a lot of liquidity just below 37.56. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
About that.
Gonna dip one quick dip down, we're at it all, and then
100K from 3K to 100K in one candle.
oh man, everything.
We're your first year.
Coinbase, everything broken. Everybody's gonna be in it.
Just for fun, I'm putting a limit order right there.
Oh, all right. Well, also, we will check back in with you in 2025 and see how that limit order works out for you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us on this very different podcast style, a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it was fun to talk about it. And we just wanted to kind of introduce to you guys the crypto course, talk about crypto a little bit, give you guys our opinions, and definitely do check it out. It is very good course. We have a lot of stuff on there, like we said. And there's literally tons of topics. Like, I can't even, there's a lot. It's huge, the course. And again, it goes into way more detail than we even talked about here. There's like all kinds of stuff in there about learning about it.
To people
Yeah.
want maybe some live streams or some shorts
Yeah.
or we'll see.
All kinds of stuff. And if you guys are interested in learning how to stake too, that is something that we do talk about a little bit in it. And again, we can go into more content about how to stake your crypto. And, that's something that if you don't know what that means yet, you can ask us in the Discord community. But staking basically helps you kind of compound your crypto while it's kind of just waiting in the long.
Basically, dividends as stocks. You could
Essentially. That's a good way to explain it. So if you guys are interested in learning more about it, definitely check us out at the trading floor. So it's www.trdfloor.com. And I think that's it, you guys. Thank you, Artie. Yes, thank you. Look at that. I didn't know that's what you were wearing.
repping.
I thought you were just wearing a plain boring shirt. Look at you.
I
All
know.
right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, and keep the notification bell on in case we put a new podcast up, which we probably will. Right. Get in there. Thank you, Artie. Thank you, Jay. And then we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Yeah.